From Maryland, Dr. Harris.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for being with us today. Just a quick follow-up on the IG's report of stimulus funds spent in Maryland, or I should say misspent in Maryland. We had a letter go back and forth. I received a letter from your office last August that we have to wait for the audit to see if we're going to recoup the misspent funds. Is the audit over?
I'm not sure, sir. I'll have to get back
Okay, if you can do that in a follow-up,
yes,
I
sir.
appreciate that. Let me go into a couple of areas. One is the Common Core. Obviously, even the teachers in Maryland have problems with it. So I would hope that we go slow on this and that we don't tie federal funding to required adoption in any way of Common Core. You probably hear the same uproar that I hear. So I just hope that that's true. Let me talk a little about the preschool for all, because that's a big chunk of money you asked for the budget. And it's interesting you say expanding, quote, high-quality preschool, but most people would just talk about Head Start being the model. Is that not true? I mean, is this a different from Head Start? What are we talking about here?
Well, to be clear, Head Start is not pre-kindergarten. And so what we're talking about, to be clear, is a 0 to 5, a sort of a seamless continuum here, starting with home visitation, and that's been proven to be pretty effective. But the goal for me is to make sure that children are entering kindergarten ready to be successful. And across the country, and this will be true, I'm sure, in Maryland, I've actually visited some of your early childhood centers. The average child coming from a disadvantaged community or family, the average child starts kindergarten a year to 14 months behind. And quite frankly, we rarely do a great job of catching those students up. And I just keep saying we have to get out of the catch-up business. So the goal is to make sure that, again, we're agnostic about who delivers the
why do we expect different results than Head Start, which, of course, provides a very brief advantage, but I think the objective studies have shown that it's just not persistent. So why do we think we're going to have a different result?
It's more complicated than that. But again, if you look at the longitudinal studies, folks like Dr. Heckman, who have done 3 and 4 decade, now going on 5-decade studies, the long-term benefits to society and the return on taxpayer investment is pretty extraordinary. Where it is high quality, what Kathleen Sebelius has done, to her credit, is, again, we talk about not just funding the status quo. She's starting to make folks demonstrate results, and where they're not getting results, having to recompete for dollars, and they may lose slots. But that's been very...
If you expand it that wide, wouldn't you want to do some studies somewhere that show what are the... Again, using Head Start as the model that failed. I mean, Head Start doesn't present lasting results.
So first of all, I would disagree with that assumption. Head Start has not failed. In some places, I think it has transformed students' lives. In other places, it has been less successful. And again, having them now focus on quality, which I don't think that agency has done in the past at scale, is a huge step in the right direction. But we can do many more studies and hope to do many more studies. I think the evidence is unequivocal and overwhelming that high-quality early learning opportunities transform students' lives.
High-quality education is always good. It's good no matter what level it exists. The question is, throwing a lot of dollars without proof, I think, is a little premature in that. Let me ask you about the D.C. Opportunity Scholarship Program. Are you a fan yet? I mean, we talked about it last year. You were equivocal about the value of the Opportunity Scholarships.
I think again, the results are mixed there.
So you don't think they're improving? They're not. As time goes on, these results aren't improving.
I'd have to. I haven't looked at the data. I haven't looked at the data recently, but going back a ways, the results were mixed.
Well, I know, but again, just as you seek to make improvements with pre-K and hope that you learn and you get better and better and better, I think that's what we see in the charter schools nation, and that's true, Mr. Secretary, right? That is what you're seeing from the charter school data. That you weed out the schools whose techniques have not been good. Yeah. We're left with a charter school system now that has been demonstrated to outperform their...
So I'm a huge fan of high-performing charter schools, and we put hundreds of millions of dollars...
I'm so glad to hear you say that. How about the ones in Louisiana?
Just to be clear, that's not news.
How about the ones in Louisiana? Are you a fan of the ones in Louisiana?
High-performing charter schools, be they in Louisiana or anywhere else, are helping to transform schools.
Are the Louisiana schools high-performing?
I can't speak to the whole system. I will say that the New Orleans district that is heavy charter emphasis is, I think, the fastest improving school district in New Orleans.
Is it a success?
It is going in the right direction. It has a long way to go. It is the fastest improving school district in the nation.
Is it better than the school system that more or less replaced? Objectively. Come on, objectives.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Ms. Secretary. I yield back the time.
Okay.